Well, good day everyone. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to have a look at adjusting the valve clearances, tappets as they're called, on the Royal Enfield Himalayan. Now the first thing we have to do, which coincidentally is also the easiest thing to do, is to get the seat off. Just lift that up and pull the bits out. One hand. It's a bit awkward with one hand, but we'll get there. And then the tank needs to come off. And then we need a couple of 10mm bolts on the tank. Now there's a few little things under the tank that need to be undone. The first one is this little fuel thing. It's not really a two-handed job because there's a little button on either side. There we go. I'll dribble out there onto the floor. It's a good place to be. And the next thing is some little hoses have to come off. I'm going to need two hands to do this. Also at the back behind this little thing there's a little electrical socket to come out. Something made a snapping noise there, it wasn't good. So that's all at that side, and there's also on the other side and underneath two more hoses to come off. So that little blue electrical connector and this little black hose both need to come off as well. I've lifted up the seat, or the tank, so we can see where it is. Okay, so there we go, there's the seat and the tank off. Rest assured when I tell you it's easier to do it with an empty fuel tank rather than a full fuel tank. But there we go. And the bits we need to look at for are here. This little cover in there. That's where the exhaust valve is. And this little cover in here, that is the inlet valve. And what we're also going to do is take off this little cover here, which allows us to turn the crank. And this little bolt here, and when we look in that, we'll be able to see the markings on the engine that lets us know if we're in top dead center or not. The exhaust side is not just as hard, there's a little bit more space in the exhaust side. But still pretty awkward all the same. Not enough room for that because there's a thing in the way. Let's try again without that. So these little things, they could be a little bit easier. Surely, in this day and age, simple things should be simple. Let's see what's happening. here. Yep, there's one off. And the other off. And that's now not terribly easy to see in there, but that's the little bit that we have to adjust. And this is the exhaust one. There's also an inlet one. Let's have a check at them. So if we take this little cover off here, we'll be able to set the crank up, top dead center, and then we can take our measurements. And try and get it right. Now if you're like me and you think you're clever, you may have went out and brought one of these little tappet adjustment screws. So this bit, the next step is very important. You take this little adjustment screw that you've just paid for and you throw it in the bin because it doesn't fit. What you need to do is get a decking screw and a little piece of wood, and then you can get that one in. It fits right over the top. Like that. Easy. Okay, I've decided this one is a little bit on the loose side. So it's going to be very difficult to see this because there is just no room at all. So I'm going to get the spanner, put the screw in the middle, undo one, and tighten the other. About there. The taffet screw on. Don't know how much of this you're going to get, but I'm going to loosen one. Tighten the other. I'll give it a wee half turn. I'll tighten it up. And I'll try it again. Move the torch. It is very awkward. Okay, let's get the feeler gauges. What does it do with it? Just, you can't see this, but it's just tight as a drum. So that seems to be just right. And then we do the same on the inlet side. Okay, now this one is very tricky to show you. There's no room in there at all. I've just got the feeler gauge. Trying to just put it under there, and that actually seems pretty tight on that one. So I'm not going to adjust that one. That one seems to be fine. Thank goodness for that, because it's an absolute menace. Okay, let's get it all back together again. Okay, let's tighten up the little covers. Best I can. No less awkward this time around. It's amazing that people spend years at university learning to make stuff that nobody can fix. too tight just yet. Done with that nut, we can take that out. Screw the little cover back on. There we go, all back together again. I spared you the trials of me fiddling around with it. But just out of the garage, let's turn her on. Oh, battery is flat. Let's have a listen.
Yeah, you can hear it, but only a little. That's the way it should be.
So, if you like this video, find it useful in any way, please feel free to subscribe to the channel, and we'll see what other adventures we can get up to next weekend.